I'm Krista Scott, and I'm the director of Rasheeda Speaking. Well, I always love to work at Circle Theater. They always give me some provocative script to look at and to consider. When I got this script, it scared me. And I thought that was probably a good thing as a director, to be a little intimidated by the material, because it speaks to a lot of issues that I feel like I've evolved with in my life, from growing up in a fairly bigoted family setting, I suppose, a family culture in rural Kansas, to where I feel like I've come to a place of hopefully much more enlightenment. But at the same time, I think the script calls us on that and says, yeah, you think you're enlightened, white lady, but maybe you've got a little further to go. And I've learned a lot just by working on the play so far. I think it's a very important play right now. I think it will make people listen. I think it will make people laugh. I think it will frighten people, probably in the same way it frightened me, to think, gosh, maybe I'm not as enlightened as I should be on the topic of racism and racial equality. It certainly addresses issues of sexism as well, how the white male doctor treats not only the African-American woman, but also the white woman, how he treats them both as well, that because they're like secretaries, you know, they're there to help him, and yes, they are there to help him, but I think it's his egoism has blinded him to the way that they would feel, and he has to be shocked into realizing that it's not all about him, and he does have privilege that particularly an African American woman would not have, and has to struggle to just even come up to any sort of equality in life, in lifestyle, in pay, in treatment, in work. I think we've been inundated, in probably a good way, in the last few years with Black Lives Matter and things like that. Our awareness has come up, and sometimes our resistance to those things has been brought up too, depending on where you fall in the politics of that. When we have to when a people has to resort to protest, and to bring in protests that are forceful in ways to get to be heard, that should be something we pay attention to and say, why does this group of people feel like they have to go to this length to be heard, to have something happen, to have things change? And so social media has brought a lot of that to our attention, through Facebook and Twitter and those kinds of things. Lots of people are talking about it. So now is the time to do this. Now, when we do have those platforms of communication, hopefully with those we can also make our audience spread the word. Hopefully this will impact them in a way that however they communicate socially, it's going to make them think different, it's going to make them talk different, it's going to make them address an issue rather than just, if a racial issue, a sexist issue, anything that comes up with discrimination comes up, maybe they might actually deal with it rather than try to put it aside. Theater, I think, is always very powerful because you're in the room with them. You're breathing the same air. You cannot escape the actual human to human communication. Films and TV shows and social media, those can have great impact. They can have a very strong message as well. It's just that you get to turn those off, and you can't really turn off theater when you're sitting in an audience. It causes you bring a lot of attention on yourself if you're going to try to turn off theater while you're watching it. So it's, I think it's, I wouldn't, I'm glad that we're doing this play in a theater so that people have to be in the room while this is happening to these people on the stage. I think people have to, when people are given the opportunity to speak and know that somebody's actually going to listen and let them tell their story and own that story and make sure that there is a communication, a real sharing, a real give and take, not just a placating or patronizing or whatever. You have to really be there and listen. And when people get to tell their stories and know that the person is receiving it and has to maybe respond to it, that's the important part. We can read stories on social media, we can watch the news, we can do things like that, we can go to theater, and then we can forget about it. But when you've got people that you are expected to respond to this, I'm going to tell you a story, I want your response to that. I'm going to listen to your story, I'm going to respond to you. I think that's what we have to do in order to heal division. And we are in a very divisive time right now. And so we've got to start listening to other people's stories and putting ourselves in their shoes and understanding why they are where they are, why they think what they think, and finding a way to make that a positive thing rather than a negative always. I think I can empathize probably more with Lisa Fairchild's role of Eileen. I can't say that I've had necessarily a similar experience, but I can empathize with having the feeling that I don't know what to do other than when I feel like I've been bullied or terrorized in a way personally, what can I do? I can understand her measures of I'm gonna start packing a gun in my purse. I can't say that I've been there, but I can empathize. I can put myself in that situation where I can understand that fear. Because I think they're going to learn something, and I think they're going to have to look at themselves, regardless of who they are. They're going, like you said, you're going to see something of yourself in one of these characters, and you may have to own up that you've had the thoughts and the feelings that could be considered racist, and maybe you still think that sometimes, and you're going to have to own up to some of that. And I think it's, that would probably put people off. You're going to learn something from this. You should come to the theater because you're going to learn. But that's not the point. I think the point is, it's a funny show as well. I think the show is disarming, that it can make you laugh and scare you at the same time. You do not want to miss Rasheeda Speaking at Circle Theater. You will go away having had an incredible experience, and you will find out something about yourself and about your community.